What's up, guys? It's Fight Week, UFC 274. We are now in my house. And honestly, I don't know why I haven't done this from here before. And partly is because these aren't the greatest memories. When you have to build a gym to get ready for your final fight, it isn't ideal. But walking in here for the first time in months, it feels nice to be back in and see what we created to try and prepare for that last fight with Stipe. But enough about what we did, what we went through, and it's time to look forward to UFC 274, Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje for the lightweight championship of the world. But not only that fight, we have another title fight as Rose Namajunas takes on Carla Esparza for the second time. Then we get to watch Michael Chandler fight Tony Ferguson. We also get Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Joe Lauzon, and a number of other fights that are going to be on what is promising to be a fantastic event from Arizona, and I cannot wait for it. And you know, we always start at the top. We always start with the main event, and honestly, this weekend's main event is absolute fireworks on paper, in action. I feel like this one has to deliver because if you know, Justin Gaethje is, as we say every time on the broadcast, your favorite fighter's favorite fighter because the dude just brings it. You know, he's hell on wheels for as long as the fight is going on. Now, Justin has had a number of fantastic performances. I think the one thing that you can never do is make that first impression better than what Justin Gaethje did when he fought Michael Johnson. Got hurt. Michael Johnson was at the top of his game at the time. Ultimately, Justin broke him down and reminded everyone why he was so popular, even though he was fighting in the World Series of Fighting. And from that point on, he has done a number of things to keep himself at the top of the lightweight division. In winning the interim championship over Tony Ferguson, he looked like an absolute killer in an empty arena. The violence that was on display on that night in that empty building in Jacksonville, crazy. Second to none. To see him break Ferguson down in the way that he did, crazy. It was nuts to watch everything come together. And it was at a time where the world was going crazy and we didn't understand what fighting looked like in that environment. Well, we saw Justin Gaethje be better because a lot of times you saw the crowd kind of take him and make him a bit reckless. In those Apex fights, in that arena in Jacksonville, even in that small arena with the fight against Khabib, you saw him fight exceptionally well. I mean, he won the first round against Khabib on, I think, 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards because he was willing to kind of just stand there, give him to take him, knowing that Khabib was going to continue to pursue him. He was like, you know what? I'm here to fight. Came all the way over here, not intimidated, to win this lightweight championship of the world. Ultimately, it didn't happen for him. But then we saw him go fight Michael Chandler in the fight of the year from last year and show and remind us once again why Justin Gaethje is the man. But here's the thing about Justin Gaethje. I did a detail on him, and he does little subtle things inside the octagon that so many people don't even recognize. You think, oh, Justin Gaethje has massive leg kicks. No, it's not just the leg kicks. It's the setup to the leg kicks. It's his ability to see things and react to them before his opponent can get to the next step. Justin Gaethje seems to be thinking a step ahead inside the octagon. Why do I go so long on Justin Gaethje? Not only because I like the guy, but because all the things that I'm saying, all the past performances that have allowed for him to get back to where he is today have to be on full display if he even has a chance against Charles Oliveira. That's how good Charles Oliveira has been on this win streak. That's how good this new Charles Oliveira has proven to be since he started down this path to becoming the lightweight champion of the world. Everybody questioned when we would see the guy that we saw against Paul Felder. The guy that when fatigue set in, he looked for the nearest exit and he walked right through it. Everybody has been looking for that guy. Everybody has constantly reminded us that that guy still exists. Everyone has told us they are going to break Charles Oliveira. They're going to remind him of those times where he gave up on himself, where he quit. And every single time, Do Bronx has proved him wrong. Greatest submission artist the UFC has ever seen. Fantastic Muay Thai. Power in both hands. And now he is fighting with a confidence about himself like he is Superman. I mean, dude got a big gold necklace that he wears now everywhere. Cat has to be almost 6 foot tall. At 155, he's massive. And he has the mindset now of a champ. Him winning that belt in Houston against Michael Chandler, dude was down and out. Back in the day, he would have packed up his lunch. See you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Nope. Got off his back, knocked Chandler out in about 30 seconds in the second round. New champ. Everybody's questioning, well, Conor and Dustin, they're the 2 best lightweights in the world. Charles wouldn't have beat those guys. Okay, line them up. Dustin Poirier, my boy, gets dropped again. Bang! Walks back to the corner. Didn't even look like he was worried at all. Round 2, he kind of starts to get into his flow. Round 3, takes him down, chokes him out, defends his title. Even walking to the octagon, we said on the broadcast, Dustin Poirier, by many, is believed to be the best lightweight in the world. Less than 15 minutes, Charles Oliveira had the final say. So well-rounded, so gifted, and now a belief in himself that is truly unmatched. So how does Justin remind him? Because once again, Gaethje's saying, deep down in there is still that quitter. I'm going to go find it. How does Justin know? To our knowledge, that guy doesn't exist anymore. I haven't seen him. Seems like he's been buried. Now, I was talking to Ryan Clark, and he said something about Amanda Nunes was like Charles. Amanda Nunes had gotten rid of those ghosts, those demons that haunted her for so long. The Cat Zingano fight, those demons that had allowed for her to quit, for lack of a better word. They were gone. But then Juliana found them. And it seemed as though she made her quit again. Here's the difference. Amanda, over the course of her run, never dealt with adversity. She dominated. So when that thought crept back in her mind, when she was reminded of it, it was the first time she's ever dealt with it. Charles has been hurt. Charles was hurt against Kevin Lee. Charles was hurt against Dustin Poirier. Charles was hurt against Michael Chandler. He's like a cyborg now. And every time he gets hurt, he gets right back up and he goes right back to work in pursuit of what he is trying to accomplish, a win in the fight, and now holding on to his UFC championship. What happens when you have 2 dudes that are unwilling to give up? Fireworks. An absolute explosion. I truly believe that is what we are in store for this weekend when we get to Phoenix. Because I know without a shadow of a doubt that Justin believes everything that he is saying. And I can't understand what Do Bronx is saying for the most part. But I know when I look at the captions on the countdown and he is beaming confidence, he's radiating it. He believes it. And he has trained and put himself in the best shape to go and implement the things that he knows that he's the best at. They're both coming to the center of the octagon. Who's going to be the one to take the first step back? I don't know. Even if I could pick the fight, I would never tell anyone how to bet it because it is that razor thin. 5 years ago, we'd have never said that about Charles Oliveira. We say that today about the lightweight champ of the world. Dude's a monster. But I also know that Justin Gaethje is an absolute killer. His thought process in regards to a fight is the most eerie thing I think I've ever encountered in the fight game. Because one time the dude told me he feels absolutely nothing when he's going into a fist fight. He's like the Iceman. He's like a killer. Stone Cold Steve Austin took his name from the Iceman. No one's closer resembled of that guy than Justin Gaethje. Dude's an absolute savage. So when two savages meet, that place is going to be insane. And I cannot wait to get back on the call with my boys. You know, it's been a while since we've been me, Rogan, and Anik. But we're back at it on this weekend. Because this is the type of card that warrants the absolute best. And we're all going to be sitting there together trying to do justice to the story that these two are going to tell inside that octagon. It is going to be a tremendous story. And I can't wait to Phoenix. But that's not it, right? I've rambled on this fight because it's so good. And in the co-main event, you got Rose Namajunas defending her championship against Carla Esparza in the second fight. You got a champion in Rose who we have seen come full circle. We saw her as the young girl on The Ultimate Fighter that everybody was enamored with, to getting embarrassed in the first fight. Carla took her down over and over again, beat her up, and submitted her. Carla gets beat by Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Rose ultimately beats Joanna, becomes the champion. Feels like the weight of the world is on her shoulders and says, you know what? I don't want this. I'm telling you guys, I was on the plane with Rose on the way back from Brazil after she lost the title, and I could not believe how at ease she was when that belt was no longer in her possession. She talked to me about beef jerky. She talked to me about gardening. She talked to me about everything but losing her championship. And it's not like she was doing that because she was so hurt and disappointed that she couldn't speak of it. She just was at ease. It was almost like a weight was lifted off her shoulder. She didn't want it. But then sometimes when you lose that thing that you think is a burden, you come back more motivated. And we saw that in Rose Namajunas. We saw her more motivated whenever she beat Jessica Andrade in the rematch. We saw her more motivated when she became the champion again. And then you saw the joy across her face when she was crowned champ again. So we have seen it all. But the one thing that we also have seen is that every time Rose has been the belle of the ball, there's always that little wrestler in the background grinding with a much less spotlight on her. Because in The Ultimate Fighter, when Rose was the submission artist and the girl that everybody wanted to get a piece of, Carla Esparza was just off on her own working. And ultimately became the first strawweight champion in UFC history. Same thing's happening now. Where Rose was a champ, or Rose lost the belt, Carla's won 5 fights in a row. She's beating whoever they're putting in front of her. She has built a resume to be undenied. So it's time for history to repeat itself? Rose Namajunas is ready to say no. She ain't ready to give up that title. Because like I said, she's better today for losing the belt down in Brazil to Jessica Andrade. And Carla Esparza is better today for losing the belt to Joanna Jędrzejczyk way back then. Because Carla now can strike. Is it to Rose's level? No. But it's good enough now to where if she cannot get takedowns, she can not only survive, but she can compete against the women that she is fighting inside the octagon. And ultimately, if you are one-dimensional, you have no chance in this game. Everyone is advancing too quickly. The game is too young to not improve fast. You have to keep up with the people in your division. This one's going to be good. You know, when you look at it on paper, you think, Rose, the jumps have been massive. We can see them. It jumps off the page. With Carla, it may be it'll be a little like subtle. It's subtle now. It's not massive improvement. She still looks the same, but it's in the small things where you see how much Carla Esparza has improved. When you see how good a job Colin Oyama has done with her to prepare her for the fight this weekend. These two women, it's pretty clear how this one will play out. If this fight's fast and if this fight's fun, you got to think it's going in Rose's favor. But if this fight's slow, if this fight gets a bit ugly at times, Carla Esparza is winning the championship. The storylines between these fights this weekend, out of control. Then you got Chandler versus Ferguson. I mean, Tony needs to rebound. And if you squint hard enough at times, you can still see the same Tony Ferguson from way back in the day. And Michael Chandler, sure, he has had fun fights, but now it's time for MC to win a title. Or it's not even win a title. It's time for MC to win a fight. Because outside of beating Dan Hooker in his UFC debut, Mike has had fun fights, but he has not been successful. Says he's going to fight smarter this weekend. Well, only time will tell. It's hard to be smart when Tony Ferguson is out in front of you, dancing, doing the break dancing, that song that comes on, boom, 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 boom. I mean, dude's fun. He enjoys the fight. Can he still compete at the highest level? We'll find out. Some people are calling this a tune-up fight for Michael Chandler. Can you believe that? Can you believe that the thought is out there that Michael Chandler is in a tune-up fight against Tony Ferguson because of Tony, how he's looked recently? I mean, dude's lost 3 in a row, but let's make no mistake about it. He has lost to Justin Gaethje, he has lost to the champion Charles Oliveira, and he has lost to Beneil Dariush. He ain't losing the bums. He is still fighting at the absolute top of the division. And Michael Chandler is in line with that. Great fights all across the board. Cowboy Cerrone's fighting. Joe Lauzon. Lauzon's been away for a while. 2 guys from the same era. There's a lot of rumblings that Cowboy may be walking away. It'd be a sad day for the world of mixed martial arts if the Cowboy went away. Dude's been the old gunslinger, rolling around in the Wild Wild West, taking fights anytime, any place, anywhere. And if there's ever a time where you look towards the end, against a guy like Lauzon, who was at the top during your heyday. A guy that was fighting the elite of the elite during your heyday. But Lauzon won his last one. A while ago, 2019. But he won his last one. Cowboy hasn't won for a bit. Interesting matchup. And it goes on and on and on. Don't forget Andre Fiallo, after that performance he had just recently in the Apex, called the dude uppercuts to knock him out. Got himself a bonus. He's fighting. Feature prelim. UFC 274 is going to be an absolute banger, ladies and gentlemen. And I cannot wait to get to Arizona to sit next to my partners and try to do justice to what is promising to be a fantastic night. Like, subscribe, hit the buy button at UFC 274, and look forward to more interviews, more videos over the course of the week. I'm sitting down with Charles Oliveira. I'm checking in with Justin Gaethje. I'm checking in with Michael Chandler. Hey, I'm checking in with Tony Ferguson. And at times Tony and I haven't always seen eye to eye. But it's time for a conversation. Me and Tony Ferguson. Let's go. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. Make sure they check on DC's YouTube page. And until next time, guys, peace.